The Age Lab started here in the Center for Transportation and Logistics. We wanted to look at not how old was an older driver. That is, birthdays don't kill, health conditions do. But how does new technology enable drivers of any age to drive longer, safely, and seamlessly? So we've been looking for years using our driving simulator right here, Miss Daisy, as in driving Miss Daisy digitally, to understand how new designs in the car, new technologies enable drivers of all ages to not just fight distraction, not just to understand what health conditions do, but to ensure that the new distraction, which is driving itself, is not a problem at any age. As the car gets smarter, that transition is going to be very difficult. We have a fleet of vehicles on the road. We have 5 cars that are instrumented out to understand your physiology, your behavior, and how the vehicle works, to start paving that road to the future of the autonomous car. But driving is not the only way to get around. We're doing work on what does the next generation community look like. We're using Agnes, the Age, Gain, Now Empathy System, a suit that, shall we say, gives you the experience of the friction, the fatigue, and often the frustration of feeling older. How do you get around in the town? What are the future design of retail stores and public spaces and places that are not just able for older people to get around, but are more joyous and seamless even for younger people? Transportation, urban design, real estate, and retail all fit into designing what is that physical space that we call home to live, work, and play. Getting from point A to B is often how engineers define transportation. It's not incorrect, but it is woefully incomplete. In my classes in urban planning, I try to tell my students the following. Transportation at any age, but particularly older age, is defined as freedom and independence. Imagine this, 70% of the 50 plus in the United States live in suburban and rural areas where walkability and transit either is not practical or does not exist. So if they don't drive, they don't get out. The progress toward the autonomous vehicle, the driverless car, provides a great dream of what that could be for tomorrow. But before we're there, there's going to be a lot of, shall we say, bumps in the road on how people will learn to use new technologies. When will they learn to not just trust, but to adopt and take their hands off the wheel and let a robot drive? But another question we're looking at, even the vehicle that may be driverless and seamless is not solving for the last and the first 50 feet. A mom who's 80-something years old with cognitive impairment or physical disability, how does she get into that driverless car? How does she get out of the driverless car? At what point do you trust mom to be in there by herself? And it's not just mom. At what age do you put your child in there by themselves? So while the vehicle is certainly part of our seamless transportation system tomorrow, it is incomplete because for now, transportation professionals are defining transportation as A to B. We have to back up a little bit and extend that trip a little bit more to understand the true meaning of transportation and the true meaning of what that trip is. And that's what we're doing here at the Age Lab. The Age Lab is comprised of a multidisciplinary team. We have nearly 40 people that are essentially 1/3 every flavor of psychology you can imagine. Social psychology, cognitive psychology, data science and engineering, and then all the social sciences and the humanities, anthropology, social work, yes, and medicine. Because aging or longevity is a multidisciplinary sport. No one discipline can say that simply a device or a service is going to make living longer better. So my team comes up with many different methods to help companies and organizations and governments worldwide better understand not just the needs, but what are the products, services, policies, and experiences that will excite and delight an aging society. One of those methods that we've developed is Agnes, the Age, Gain, Now Empathy System. And Agnes has helped us work with retail companies to better design stores that are not just more convenient for the young, but seamless for older adults. To rethink how sidewalks and public spaces and places are designed to make it possible not just to be accessible, but to make it fun, to make it something that has the intensity and density to be livable. Not simply livable communities, but places that you want to be and want to be exciting on. to improve public transportation. From Transport London to here in Boston, Agnes has ridden the rails and the buses to better understand how to make transit seamless for all ages and all capabilities. And the reason we developed Agnes was not simply because we couldn't ask people. In fact, we ask lots of people. We have panels. We have the 85 plus lifestyle leaders, a group of people that work with us on a monthly basis to look at products, service, and ideas and give us their understanding of needs. We do surveys around the world. Just last year, 5 different countries, and certainly many in the United States, on topics like finance and housing and transportation. But Agnes is different. Agnes provides that aha moment, empathy, where the student, the engineer, the marketer, the planner, the retailer can wear the suit and have that aha moment to realize that, gee, it doesn't have to be this way, or to feel that friction that an older consumer often will not report because they don't want to admit that while they may be youthful, they're no longer young. So Agnes gives that designer and marketer and student and engineer that moment where they understand that says, this is difficult, but because they have the knowledge of how to make things better, they can also make the decision, this doesn't have to be this way. So whether it's changing pill reminder systems, opening bottles, redesigning stores or spaces and places, Agnes provides a new empathy tool to understand the older consumer. The research here at the Age Lab is not just about technology and about behavior. It's about the fact that old age, as we know it today, is actually, believe it or not, made up. The story of old age, the idea that eventually we get tired or that we were imbued with a certain amount of what's called vital energy. And as we get older and use it unwisely, which in many cases means anything fun, we get tired, we get low on energy, and we have to retire. We need to create a new story. MIT has been vital in creating a new frontier of science. Whereas Vannevar Bush, the former dean of engineering here at MIT, science advisor at FDR, said, science is the endless frontier. MIT has been critical in making it possible for us to live longer in our lives around the world, the inventions, innovations that have made that happen. Here at the Age Lab and my colleagues across the campus are now saying, let's translate that longer life into something different. A new story of old age that is not about getting tired and retired and having a glass that's half empty, but rather starting to envision new products, services, experiences, rituals, myths, and stories that encompass a 100-year life that is 100 years of quality living. That is the new endless frontier. You know, I started the lab based upon Miss Daisy here because I was intrigued, and my background is transportation and urban planning. But then I realized that, frankly, even if I have, for instance, a home that can provide me a checkup a day, 3 meals a day of good food, medication and health, all taken care of. You know something? I just defined, believe it or not, prison. Because if I don't have a life where there are things to do and purpose and things that are exciting to do and people to engage with, that's not better living. That's simply more life and time spent. And so the Age Lab, we kind of dawned on us that we could make perhaps a safer car or a better house, but doing those things in a vacuum, many other people are doing. The Age Lab, really, that aha moment was, well, life is about how do you integrate all these instrumental activities together to create a life that's worth living. And at the end of the day, that's the goal of Life Tomorrow.